of a foggy bridge. It's really foggy early on the Oregon coast here. I love a bridge that's all wrapped in fog. Here, let me show you inside the bridge with the fog. You know, most people watch these videos, they never get to see the things that, you know, are out here. That's one of the reasons I make the videos. I don't care if you subscribe. I don't care if you hit that stupid little bell like everyone says. I don't care. I don't care if you get notified that I put up a video. I don't get paid on YouTube. I'm not in it for that. I just share what I'm doing. I'm just a nice enough person. I just share it with everyone. When I used to allow comments on an old channel, people would tell me about all the things I'm doing wrong on my YouTube channel. And so I stopped taking comments. And I'd say, well, if you don't like the channel, there's 17 billion other channels. So go watch something else. I mean, I'm not trying to be mean. I'm just telling you the truth. If you don't like this channel, then why? I've had a guy tell me once, he said, I'm not on an old channel. I'm not a Christian, Dave, and I really don't even like your channel, but I can't stop watching and listening to your stupid stories. And he got mad at me because he couldn't stop. I said, okay, well, have a great day. God loves you. I said, try to take a break once in a while. You don't have to watch. Maybe go outside and go camping or something and make your own videos. And then the guy yelled at me. This was like 10 years ago. That's when I learned I thought, you know, 10 years ago on YouTube, you could allow comments. Someone living in a Sprinter van. You could allow comments. And you could get some good ones and kind of manage them a little bit. But now with the way the world is, a lot of the people on YouTube are from foreign countries. They're not in the United States. And they are mean and they are there. They hate America. They hate you. They're going to say all the mean things they can to you. That's why I don't allow comments. Or on the Bible studies, I don't allow comments because I can't answer your specific detailed questions in a comment section. That would not be fair to you. That would be a disservice to you. There were 3 people in vans back there, living in vans at that laundromat, in there doing their laundry. Or you can live in a van. Here in Newport, they got a fantastic grocery outlet. Gas up here is only $3.43. When I filled up this morning in Florence, it was $3.84. You know, they got a lot of used cars up here that they're brand new. They only got like 5,000 miles on them. And from like 22, 23, and 24 that they can't sell. Look at these lots. They're completely packed full of cars. There's not even one spot to put a car there. Every lot on the Oregon coast is completely packed. You can't even get a car on there, so that means they're not selling. You know, to stay in business, there's a homeless person back there with a dog barking. To stay in business as a car lot, you got to be selling 1 car a day. You got to sell 30 cars a month minimum just to pay all the expenses and all your employees and to get a little bit of money for the managers. And if you're not selling 1 car a day, well, so every time I drive by here, or down in Coos Bay even, I don't see any empty spots where they sold a car. I know they're not selling a car and then getting a new car the next day. No, they only get cars delivered to them like once a month. Oh, here's a high school kid working. Oh, to be in high school again. That would be incredible. There's a high school kid working here at the Fred Meyer. And you know, school just got out, so it's summer, right? To go back to 16 or 17 years old and have a job where you only work on, you know, Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays, and you go around and they say, all right, show up. And they don't expect that much out of you because you're young. You know, they're not going to make you the manager or nothing. And the kid was walking around with a cart and a little plastic bag, picking up with a little grabber, picking up cigarette butts and garbage on the ground, walking around. That'll be the first 2 or 3 hours of his morning, just walking. And then you see adults, you know, my age, running as fast as they can to work, and they're, you know, they're in their 60s and they're still paying off their house. Go look at the 3-minute video I just made. How I buy groceries on losing weight. If you want to lose weight, you got to get control of your groceries, your food. Who wants to go up to the lighthouse? I do. Okay, I'll drive myself up there. Do you know that hard liquor companies are going out of business? This is good news for me in Christianity. Look, there's only one car charging there. Electric cars never took off, and there's no place to charge them, and nobody does, you know. But as far as, you know, Jesus is concerned, so older people now have stopped buying alcohol in their old age because, you know, the doctor tells them, stop drinking, you know, you fat, lazy bum. And so they do because of their health. They want to spend a few years with their grandkids. Number 2, middle-class people now, the first thing you cut back on is alcohol when the economy has this much inflation. And number 3, I know this, Gen Z doesn't drink. Gen Z doesn't do anything, and I don't mean that as a cut down, I mean that as a compliment. I'm one of the few older Americans that's complimenting Gen Z. The people from 18 to like 30 have quit drinking. They don't believe in buying a house. They don't believe in a car payment. They don't believe in drinking. They don't believe in smoking pot. They don't smoke cigarettes. And that's good news because that used to be the age to where you start smoking at an early age. They never started. They don't smoke. So if you don't smoke cigarettes, you don't smoke pot. But what they do a lot, they're in a lot of therapy. And they get online therapy, but that's a whole different subject. Alcohol sales in America, some companies are reporting 40% loss, like Jack Daniels. It's really just kind of like a cheap whiskey. But Jack Daniels is reporting double-digit losses because people have stopped buying their product. You know, all alcohol is poison. It's an actual controlled poison. And people just don't understand, you know. There's 2 homeless people standing on the side of the road there. They're everywhere. We got the most down and out society since the Great Depression. So I, for one, I don't drink, I don't smoke. I'm happy to see that alcohol sales are going down. And it's just what I've been telling you on this channel in a lot of these videos. It's not that just that the next generation is changing a little bit away from their parents. No. We're talking about major industries going out of business after 80 years. After 120 years of being in business, they're now going to not exist anymore in the next 10 or 20 years. And it started at the pandemic. And it started with, the COVID, and then when inflation hit. If you knew how much I did not buy, now I get in here for free because I'll show you, I have an Oregon Coast, Pacific Coast passport. He said they're not even open yet. Wonder what time it is. 7:42. Sorry, man. What, did you change it a little? They changed it?
It's not 8 o'clock yet.
Oh, they're open at 8? I used to come up here at 6 a.m.
Yeah, well, that was when we had a staff of people.
Oh.
Just me now.
It's that damn Donald Trump.
Yeah, somebody happened.
All right, well, thanks. I'll be back. Right. Okay, well, I can't go in there right now. I'll come back another day, but they changed their hours because Donald Trump cut back their employees, cut back their funding. There you go. It's already having an effect. They used to have 2 or 3 or 4 people working up here, and I used to be able to drive up here at 6 a.m. at sunrise. And now they don't open until 8 o'clock in the morning. Well, when the federal government takes away your money, you have to do something. So they got people that already lost their jobs there. At the state parks, all the lighthouses, because of the government money. Think about it. So that's what I said, major industries that we've had for over 80 years, 100 years, 120 years are going away, including things in the government. So if you want society to shrink and get cut back, well, that's what you're going to get. I know a lot of you are anti-taxes. I don't know if you heard yet, they just announced it 2 days ago. In Oregon, they're going to try to raise the gas tax 15 cents a gallon, state tax, because they're out of money. And they're going to try to pass it this year, 15 cents a gallon, and they're going to try to pass, if you own an electric car, you have to pay a tax per mile now. Think about it, my friends. So if you own an electric car, so now they're going to charge you a tax at the end of your tax year, so much per 1,000 miles that you drive. So what's that going to be? $30 per for every 1,000 miles. If you drive 15,000 miles, 15 times 30, you got to pay $400, $500, $600 at the end of the year on your taxes for your electric car now. You see, when places run out of money, then all these services are going to get cut back. Now, I don't care. I mean, I bet I go to the lighthouse. I'll just remember next time they don't open till 8. I'm going to go down to the port and maybe film some boats or something. You're getting the society you voted for. Now, I like Donald Trump. I like Joe Biden. I like Barack Obama. I like George Bush. Because I'm a Christian. I'm not a politician. I take a bath once a month, whether I need it or not. That's right. Once every month. I don't want to start stinking, you know. Once a month, jump in the tub or the car wash. I wasn't talking about me. I was, no. Another homeless guy right over here. That's a real tough life, I'll tell you that. Now, a lot of these people who beg, because I see it, they have motorhomes or vans or trucks and trailers, and they're begging for money. Now, one of the worst things I see lately, I don't like seeing, senior citizens are begging for money now. Men and women on Social Security. But if you get, $1,200 a month Social Security, some of these people get like $800 or $900 a month Social Security. And they live in their automobile, so if you have anything happen to your car, that could be a whole, $900 just to keep, in 1 month, to keep your car going. The Bible is right. Whether you agree or disagree, the Bible is correct. And it's not judging people. It's saying without work, a man will starve. And you think, well, the government will pay for it. Well, we see now the government's not going to pay for it. Sometimes they pay for it, then they cut back. You think you're doing good in life, and then the government takes away 50% of your benefits, and now you don't even have enough food. And the only solution, there's only 2 solutions. Number 1 is what the Bible says, you go make money. If you're not actually disabled, but you're on disability with the government, you'll come to ruin eventually, is what the Bible teaches. This is what, I'm just repeating what the Bible says. You ask anybody who takes government money, they won't tell you that they're doing well. Not a single one of them will say, yeah, I'm doing fantastic. I'm on government welfare. I do fantastic. No, they won't. There's always someone else in their household working. And so there's only 2 ways. You either make money yourself at 40 hours a week, and you have to play the game like everybody else does. Or you have to be on government welfare, and you have to accept free things. But then the third way is, if the government cuts your benefits back like they are doing now under Donald Trump, then you have to find someone that's willing to take you in and compassionately care for your food and your clothing and everything, like your mother, your parents, your grandma, a brother, a sister, your in-laws. Those are the only three ways that you're gonna survive on Earth in 2025 and going forward. Look at that Mexican back there. See, he's got his own business. It's Sunday morning at 8 o'clock in the morning. He's mowing lawns. Sunday morning, Mexican out there mowing lawns with his own lawnmower and a small trailer behind his truck to get that extra $50. That's the only way you can survive in America. And I did not say thrive. I mean, it's almost impossible to thrive in America today, even if you get up to 100,000 a year. Do you know how much health care is? Not health care. Do you know you get health care at your job or something? Do you know how much daycare is? If your wife wants to go to work, daycare now in a city is $1,000 a month per child. So if you have 2 children, you'd be giving the daycare worker all your money. And you notice, that's one of the things Joe Biden, oh, we're going to change daycare. We're going to change daycare. Oh, we're going to get daycare. We're going to get daycare. Not one thing in 4 years was done about it. Not one single thing was done about daycare in 4 years. Now, Republicans don't like paying for your daycare. Democrats were at least willing to talk about it, but they didn't do anything about it. So now people aren't having children anymore, because if you have a child, you got to put them in daycare for 4 years before they go to kindergarten. So the mother or the father, it doesn't matter in today's society, stays at home with the kids, and the other one, and now you only have a one-income family. But I'm telling you, like I said, I like Joe Biden, I like Donald Trump. I'm a Christian, I'm not a politician. However, for the rest of this year, 2025, and the next 3 years, Donald Trump is going to spend the next 3.5 years with the Republican Congress completely cutting back on any and all forms of welfare and government assistance. I think we'll get to the point where he already cut back the post office. Well, they gave the post office more money, which blows my mind, and then cut back the hours. Here's $20 billion more dollars, but we're going to cut back the hours. Kind of like we just went to the lighthouse. But the lighthouse didn't get more money. The post office got several billion more dollars. The military got $100 billion more dollars. But I think we'll get to the point to where you probably have to make an appointment just to get into the driver's license place. Let me tell you how much the world changed, you know. My wife wears glasses, and I've never needed glasses, so 15 years ago, you could walk into the Vision Center at Walmart. This is how much the world's changed. You could get an appointment. That lady almost ran into this car. Wow. You could get an appointment with the doctor on site within 1 hour. And you could order your glasses, and 3 days later they would show up, and you just drive back down and pick them up. Same thing 10 years ago, 7 years ago. So the last time we went to get glasses for my wife down there, That lady passed me in a 25 doing 30, 540. Whoa! Here's the lady that almost ran into the car behind her. There's no place to park here. It's not a parking spot. She's coming backwards down the road. So, anyways, we went in there. They said, we can get you an appointment to see the doctor in 3 weeks. He's booked up for 3 weeks, the eye doctor. It's just a simple eye test. They require it before they'll give you new glasses. Hey, how you doing? Hey. That lady was driving in the wrong lane with half her truck. That's why I stopped. She almost ran into me. So we go back 3 weeks later to get the eye test. Then it takes 2.5 to 3 weeks for your glasses to show up. So if you want glasses at the Walmart Vision Center now, like in Eugene or Coos Bay, they don't have it in Newport. And 15 years ago, it was 2 eyeglasses, lenses, everything for $99. So now it is 2 pairs of glasses, lenses, and everything for $350. In just 10 years, it went from $99 to $350, and it takes 6 to 8 weeks for the whole entire process to finish up. So the glasses are $350 for 2 pair, and the exam's like $80. But my wife actually has good health insurance at her job, so then if we spend another 10 weeks giving it to the insurance company, they'll send us back 50% of the entire cost. So they'll send you a check, they'll actually send you 2 checks in the mail for 50% of the exam and 50% of the glasses, which, you know, it comes to like $440. So you're going to get like a $210 check in the mail. So by the time you oh man, I'll tell you. So by the time you go down there and get all this stuff solved, and you get half your money back, it's 3 to 4 month process. You know, I asked the lady last time we were down there, you know, well, don't you have like an emergency service if someone like broke their glasses, it's the only pair they have, and they have to come in and get them repaired quickly? She said, no, we don't offer. I said, well, what do they do without glasses for the next, 8 weeks? She said, that's why you always want to have 1 or 2 spare pairs of glasses, because now I went into Florence to ask 2 eye doctors, and this is why people go to Walmart. In Florence, two eye doctors, this is their whole business. How much is the eye exam? They said, like, $349. I thought, well, that's a ripoff, but I didn't say anything. I said, well, they only charge $80 at Walmart, and they just kind of looked at me and rolled their eyes. I said, well, how much are your eyeglasses? And the one on the coast, the lady says, we have eyeglasses starting at $399 a pair. I said, so with the eye exam and 2 pairs of glasses, I'm looking at like $1,400 with lenses and everything. And then you got to pay like $49 for 2 years of insurance. I said, I'm looking at like $1,200. She goes, yes, that's normal. I said, okay, well, I'm going to go to Walmart. It's only $500. She said, well, you have a nice day. Very sarcastically. Those trucks are too big. Big trucks are too big. They've now, over the last 5 years, made the trucks bigger than the roads. But it's not going to last. In the next 5 to 10 years, they'll all go away. People don't want big anymore. They want small. And the next generation, Gen Z, they don't even want a car. They don't want anything over a compact or small or mid-sized. Or they won't touch it. They won't go near it. Gen Z is never going to buy a big diesel dually $90,000 truck. They're never going to do it. Well, look, that's where Ford and Chevy and Dodge get all their money. You know, guys don't need these trucks. You never see them hauling anything in it. The back of the truck's always empty. They don't haul anything in the truck. They use a $90,000 truck to go to the store and pick up some groceries. Let me give you a news flash here. Do you know how many groceries you could buy for $90,000 for the next 10 years? And you could still drive a $4,000 Honda. I was really surprised when the economy started crumbling during the coronavirus pandemic, and the truck manufacturers started making more and doubling the price expensive of their trucks. Like, what are they doing? And then when inflation hit, they raised their prices more and doubled them again. And now we have all the layoffs coming in America, and they're raising their prices more, and all the trucks are $90,000. Those are people that are going to go out of business in 5 years. Especially after Donald Trump is gone. They will take all those jobs back to Mexico, China, and India. People been living in this thing here. The guy in there is disabled. Here's a guy living in a van. They've been living in that motorhome truck up here that I've noticed for 5 or 6 years. Because the guy's disabled and they don't have a choice. They don't have a choice. They don't have anywhere to go. And we're in the process of seeing it now. I have friends, good friends of mine, that are living on the road. I have people taking their trailers just to someone's backyard and giving them $500 or $600 a month to live in a trailer in someone else's backyard. And then that person gets $500 or $600 a month, which they like the money as long as you're not causing any problems in their backyard. And then you live there, and you could either, you could pull your trailer down to the dock once every 2 weeks and empty it out and fill it up with water and come back, and those people get $600 a month for you out of their backyard now. I see a lot of people doing that. I see a lot of senior citizens, because Oregon passed a law that you can have a smaller cottage or something in your backyard now. So a lot of senior citizens are taking their property, going out making 2 full hookups for 2 motorhomes with 2 cement pads on their property. And they're renting them out for $700 a month here on the Oregon coast, so they get $1,400 a month from 2 renters. And with their Social Security, that's how they're able to stay in their own house and live. But of course, the people living in the cars and stuff, they don't have $20,000 to buy a motorhome or an RV or a trailer or a fifth wheel. They don't even have $1,000. So it doesn't work for really poor people. You know, we're the greatest nation in the history of the world, financially. And let me tell you something. There's 3 people in vans back there living. That lady walking there is living in that van, that mid-sized mom van, she's got all her possessions in the van. Wow. So this is financially the greatest country in the world, okay? I mean, GDP-wise. Gross domestic product. And God forbid, if you find yourself unemployed and disabled and no government services and your rent went up and they cut back the rent subsidies because they say you can work, or God forbid you're on government disability, which is $900 a month and then food stamps, that's all you get. $900 a month plus food stamps. And that's not enough to survive unless you get subsidized rent from your state, which the state gets that money from the federal government. So now Donald Trump is cutting back the federal money that he's sending to the states. So the state is going to cut back the local state subsidies. If you've ever researched this stuff, you would understand. This lady standing in the middle of the road doesn't know it. She doesn't even know she's standing in front of me. She has no clue she's standing in the middle of the road. As she moved forward, she had no idea I was here. None whatsoever. See, people are just out of it. And that's what I'm saying. It's coming to America real bad here in the next 8 years. They're going to cut back food stamps. They're going to cut back health insurance at the federal level, and then the states will cut it back. They're going to cut back subsidized housing. And it's going to get to the point in America that if you don't have 2 incomes in the house, you will not be able to survive for less than $60,000 a year minimum. You won't be able to do it. So I just went and looked it up. How many American households, combined household income, make less than $60,000 per year? It came up 33% of American households combined income make less than $50,000 per year. 1 out of every 3, 33%. 33% of American households, not Americans, this is total household income, 33% make less. Now that's before taxes. You haven't paid your tax thing. 33%. Make less than $50,000 a year. That means each person working only makes like 25, or you have one that makes 49 and the other one doesn't work. Wow. I didn't even realize it was that bad. There's someone living in a car right there. There's someone living in this motorhome right here, next to the police station. Yeah. It's 9 o'clock Sunday morning. Look at how many cars are not on the road. It's like 9:30 a.m. Sunday morning. There's nobody out here. Well, that means there's nobody shopping. Well, that means businesses aren't receiving money. Well, if small businesses, medium to small businesses, and businesses with less than 100 employees, if they're not receiving any money, then they lay off employees, and the layoffs start, which I said is coming in 2 and 3 years in a major way. It's going to cause a collapse. And if that doesn't work, then they close the business and they have to go look for a job themselves. I'm not trying to sound negative. On this channel, I'm telling you what's coming to America within 4 years. And I personally like Donald Trump, but he's not turning out to be what he promised. And I like Joe Biden, but he didn't turn out to make his promises come true either. And Barack Obama, he only made about half the things he said come true. The other half, it didn't happen. So we have these politicians for like 16 to 20 years making promises, but it never actually happens. Every single president in the past 24 years has promised to reduce the national deficit. Well, now we're pushing, within a couple of years, we're going to be pushing $40 trillion in debt. Let me put that into perspective for you. That would be the same as if you owed $400,000 on a credit card. That's what $40 trillion of national debt is if you owed $400,000 on your credit cards. You would be screwed, my friends, in a big way. So why do we think it's different if it's the country owes $40 trillion? Why do we think nothing's going to happen to the country? If America files bankruptcy on its debt, well, it would cause a world war for one thing, but if a world war starts, then America would use that as the opportunity to file bankruptcy on a lot of its debt because we're in a world war. They would use that as an excuse. I mean, you're not going to pay back the debt to countries who borrowed you money if they're in war with you. That's how we control these countries. We owe them trillions of dollars, so they won't do anything to us or they won't get their money back, but that's a side issue. I think the average American today just kind of puts their arms up in the air and says, oh, well, nothing I can do about it. I need some more buffalo wings and cheese sticks. And what happens is, because Americans don't even get involved with their Christianity. They don't read the Bible, they don't pray, they don't talk about Jesus to their family. So if you're not going to get involved with your Christianity, you're not going to get involved with things like national debt and things like that. It's not going to happen. Look at this huge white dog down here. It's very beautiful. That red car right there. I came here 2 weeks ago and they were parked in the exact same spot. So they must park there 7 nights a week, trying to survive. They probably even have a job. And when I came up here 2 days ago, this guy in this van was parked right here 2 days ago. He hasn't moved in 2 days. He's a guy older than I am, retired, living in a van. He's got a small air conditioning in the back. So if he goes to a campground, he can plug it in. You don't really need air conditioning around here, but if you go down to Nevada, Arizona, you're going to want some air conditioning. You see the slow mode Americans are in down here, walking around, sitting around, doing nothing, just hanging out, not doing anything.